Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mike here. Thank you so much for hopping on here to hear the background and the history and the making of this brand new album I just released this past week, September 12th of 2025, Strings of My Heart. And I'm gonna, take a deep dive into the history, the background, the recording process, the writing process, the questioning if I'm good enough, the error thinking like, is this going to be good enough? Who's going to really want to listen to this kind of stuff? All those kinds of things, and just what culminated up to the point where I finally built up the courage, enough courage for me to actually record it, and now put it out on all platforms for everybody to listen to. And it's in God's hands at this point now. I can't have no control over it, what's going to do, what's going to happen. I'm not expecting a humongous, gain out of it. I'm really grateful and proud of this work, just because it took many years of me writing a lot of my music, and to now put it onto a platform, any and all platforms out there for anybody to hear and listen. And it's gonna be crazy. My personal background, I've been playing guitar for 26 years at this point now, and majority of those years have been me actually writing. I started writing my own guitar works back in freshman year of high school, and me performing some of my works on an actual stage in my high school years, and just kind of getting the feedback and the samples from other people's thoughts and their comments on my music at the time, and just it was met with a lot of positive response, and it felt good for sure. But I didn't think it was going to be good enough for me to record it and then put it out there to the world, because I had a very, very low self-image of myself, and just again, my thinking is I'm not good enough. They kind of imposter syndrome. I kind of feel like I'm a fraud, like I'm just not good enough. People are not going to listen to this. All that negative, self-talk that I did to myself over those years, and why it took so long for me to okay, I'm going to do it. But I really started seriously writing my music at that time in freshman year, and then I got to my freshman year of college out in Berklee College of Music out in Boston, and that's where I really started to dive into altered tunings, and it opened a brand new world. I'm not saying standard tuning is boring or anything like that. It's just I find much more enjoyment in altered tunings, and it opens a brand new world. It kind of breaks all the rules of the standard tuning, kind of style of doing things on the guitar, and it forces you to be much more creative and start to find things that you wouldn't have normally would do. And I enjoy that kind of tinkering when it comes to me playing guitar with different altered tunings. And I wrote my first song in a different altered tuning that I just happened to stumble while I was actually at a college party. One of my friends, and he had his guitar there at his flat, and I picked it up and I started playing. I'm like, man, what the heck is this? What kind of tuning is this? So I asked him, what tuning is this? He's like, oh, it's D-A-D-E-A-E. And I was like, man, that's really cool. Never heard that before. And I started to play with it, tinker with it a little bit, and I came up with actually the midsection of Imagination of the Young, right there on the spot. And I was like, man, that sounds good. So I pulled up my phone, recorded it, and I was like, and I wrote down the tuning. I was like, okay, put it in my pocket. And I was like, and then off went to partying after that. But the next day, I pulled out that recording, and I felt so inspired. I sat there for 2-3 hours, really fleshing it out and writing. And after 2 or 3 hours, I got it done. I finished it, and it felt good. And I recorded it on my laptop at the time, and I played it, for people here and there, my peers, and maybe and also in classroom settings. And people always said man, that's so good. I could hear that in film and TV, whatever the case is. And I just thought maybe, but then that whole negative thought process came right back in. I'm like, no, I don't think it's good enough to do that. There's no way. And there it was, just writing my own stuff, but just kind of keeping it to myself. I play it every once in a while in a, open mic or whatever kind of public setting, and people would respond, dude, it's so good. Where can I find your stuff? Where can I find your music? Do you have it recorded? And the answer was always no, I don't have it recorded, because I just didn't have the self-image and just didn't think I was good enough to actually, so let's get it recorded and put it out there in the world. And that plagued me for so many years until I met my wife. my wife is the biggest catalyst and the primary reason of why I actually started the recording process of this new album, Strings of My Heart. She's been my biggest supporter, my biggest cheerleader, and she's been there with the same compliments. Like, dude, like, your music is so good. Like, you should record it. Like, it'd be very selfish for you just to hold it and never ever give it to people and let them enjoy it as well. And she had a good point. I was like, I am being selfish and I'm robbing people, of what people have been wanting, which is my music. And so I built up the courage to, okay, I'm gonna record it. And that was another journey on its own right there. I've never recorded, period, except for on my phone. So that was a journey on itself, because I never actually took a condenser mic, had the right placement, and hook it up to an interface, and then hook it up to the computer so I can use Ableton and learning how to master and mix it and master and all that such. I've never done any of that stuff. I always, if I ever was recording, in that kind of setting, it was always a producer or an engineer, and they were the ones that were, doing those kinds of things. I just kind of did what I did. But this time it was like, okay, I gotta learn how to do this. So it was a lot of trial and error and a lot of frustrating moments, a lot of I quit, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore. A lot of I need to take a break. But with a lot of, researching on YouTube and just kind of having assistance with other people that know what the heck they're doing on the board, and just taking that knowledge and then just slowly, bit by bit, learning how to actually do it, and then finally getting a good understanding and feeling a little bit more comfortable of actually how to do it. I got to the point where I was like, okay, it actually sounds pretty good, and it took me a while to mix and master it, but I felt, for me, in my ears, I'm like, that sounds good. And then I sent it to a handful of friends of mine, and one of them actually I went to Berkeley with as well, and he's actually a producer, engineer, and so he knows what it's like to be behind the board and record people. And so I asked him, I was like, let me know on a professional level, what do you actually think about this? How is this sound and everything? He's like, dude, based on your background and you tell me you had no prior experience of how to record professionally in that regard, from going from that to where this final product is, your new album, it sounds pretty darn good, actually. And for me, that felt good. I didn't look at it as trying to stroke my own ego, oh yeah, look at me, I'm good. No, it felt encouraging. I was like, man, that sounds really great. That's awesome. I feel like I was on the right track. All right, so that was a process on its own, the recording process. But also another big piece of this puzzle was me actually writing my music. It takes me a long time to write some music. For instance, that song Imagination of the Young, it's the oldest track that's recorded on this album. That one took me 2 or 3 hours, and it felt good. I was like, yeah, it was like a lightning in a bottle situation, and it was a boom. I was good. But then there's other songs on that album which say Traveling West. It took me almost a year to finally feel 100% solid with it. And I was like, I feel content and satisfied with that. It took me almost a year to finally write it all out. And so I vary from between 2 to 3 hours to a year. So it's gonna take me some time to, from this point forward, if I'm considering to write another album or an EP, whatever the case is, it may take me a while. And so, but it may take me shorter time than I expect. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm just letting the journey and the process do its thing. And I'm not trying to rush the process, because I feel like if I just rush the process, it just would be disingenuous to who I am as an artist. And I don't want to put out disingenuous work. I actually want to be this is how I actually feel, and I feel 100% satisfied with this product and my music that is actually genuine to me, and how I want to represent myself in the music world. And so yeah, that's been the journey in the background and the history of the many years, 17 years to be exact, to where I was writing from Imagination of the Young to now the final product of Strings of My Heart. And now it's in your guys' hands, and I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts. What's your favorite track? In the comment section, I'll leave the link to my music in the description below, so you can obviously have a chance to hear my music. And I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts, because that fuels my inspiration too. And also, I hope me sharing my background, my story, my thoughts, my negative thoughts, self-talk and all that such, and me just talking myself out of it for so many years to this point, I hope it brings inspiration to people that are maybe perhaps in this space that write instrumental music, and they're maybe having the same kind of, you know, conundrum. They're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. If I can do it, coming from my background and having that negative self-talk plague me for so many years to where it's at today, then I believe that you can 100% do it yourself too. So yeah, man, just so I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know in the description, in the comments below, what's your favorite track? Which one kind of like moved you the best, or whatever the case is. So anyhow, I just want to hop on here, kind of give you the debrief of this, the whole background of this album, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. You give a like, comment if you feel called to do that. But anyhow, see you guys next time.